I'm pregnant with his child. You're not the father. She threw the words at me like a torn verdict, sharp and final. The coffee cup hit the floor and shattered. The children huddled on the carpet, afraid to make a sound. She stood with her hands on her hips, her gaze cold to the bone, declaring she would rewrite all of our lives. I bent down to pick up the cup, the back of my hand burned from the spilled coffee. My movements were steady, deliberate, as if performing a necessary task, recording, organizing, waiting. Months of secrets, notes from the children, her public humiliation, I had noted them all and compiled them as evidence. She thought she could use a new life as a shield, a smile to mask betrayal. She did not realize that smile would tremble with regret under courtroom lights. Soon, she would stand in the midst of her own collapse, pleading with me to let her off, and I would calmly lay the evidence before her, watching her pay for her choices. Months earlier, her behavior had become unusual. Dinner was no longer warm, she stopped playing with the children, frequently leaving home under the guise of social gatherings. The children once whispered to me, "Daddy, if I say Mom brought someone home, will she get angry?" My elder son asked softly, "Dad, will she be mad? Will we get punished?" My younger daughter clutched her sketchbook, quietly sobbing. My chest tightened, but I reminded myself, revenge must be strategic. She had humiliated me at a friend's gathering. At one family dinner, she loudly criticized my table cleaning, mocking me that I would never meet her standards. The children glanced at me, eyes full of grievance and confusion. I mentally recorded every humiliation, each one a thread for my plan of retribution. In front of the children, her attitude was often cold and sarcastic. Sometimes the kids would hand me notes, "Dad, she brought someone home again." I clenched my fists in silence, knowing revenge had to be thorough. The following weeks felt like being slowly soaked in icy water. By day, I appeared busy at work, reporting so-called overtime and business trips to colleagues. By night, I quietly returned home to check the security footage. The children had noticed their mother's change, her tone sharper, her movements quicker, her eyes devoid of warmth. One evening, she abruptly pushed her chair back, yelling at the children, "Sit properly, don't block the way." My elder son lowered his head, shaking his spoon as if grinding his food into the bowl. My younger daughter quietly placed her sketchbook on the table, fingers clenching its edges, her eyes filled with unease. I stood in the kitchen doorway, silently recording everything, the deliberate coldness she displayed toward the children. Her threats weren't just verbal. Once, she used candy to silence the kids. "Who told you? If you say another word, no candy for you." My son swallowed his tears, my daughter bit her lip, the room so quiet you could hear the trembling of their breath. I meticulously documented all of it, the children's fear, her coldness, each manipulative act. These would become crucial in my plan for retribution. Meanwhile, I installed a GPS tracker on her car and closely monitored her daily movements. Every outing, every stop was recorded. Once, as she left home, I saw a man discreetly approach her car. She smiled and patted his shoulder. In that moment, I knew, she was scheming, and the children were being excluded. I pretended to go on a business trip for a few days, giving her and the man free rein. The children were sent to their aunts. Before leaving, my son held my hand tightly. "Daddy, you'll come back, right?" My daughter rested her head on my chest, tears falling. "Daddy, don't let them hurt us." I bent down to meet their eyes. "I'll be back. We'll be together. You're safe." Their trust became my strongest support. It also made me understand, revenge wasn't just for me, it was for the children. A few days later, the security footage revealed critical scenes, she and the man sitting on the living room carpet, speaking softly, his hand on her waist, occasionally touching her abdomen. She looked excited and satisfied, not ashamed. I observed every movement, recorded every word. Occasionally, the children peeked through the door crack, their eyes fearful yet secretly hopeful. They knew their father was watching. Each frame felt like a nail driven into my heart, and into my plan. My actions remained calm and systematic. Video compilation, documenting each act of infidelity in a timeline. Call and message records, preserving her communication with the man. Children's evidence, notes, drawings, and daily accounts from the children. GPS logs, marking each meeting's location and time. This meticulous approach allowed me to remain composed and see the truth clearly. She not only betrayed me but also threatened the children's safety and reliance on me. Revenge was not impulsive, it was patience and strategy accumulated over months. The children's perspective was crucial. Once, my elder son whispered from the corner, "Dad, why doesn't Mom like us?" My younger daughter held his hand tightly. "She only likes someone else, not us." I knelt down, held their shoulders, and said calmly, "We know the truth, but don't be afraid. Dad is here. You're safe." Slowly, their eyes found a trace of calm, a peace I knew had to be protected through action. I gradually finalized my plan. Pretend to be away to lower her guard. Use surveillance and GPS to gather critical evidence. Contact lawyers to prepare legal action, including divorce documents, custody claims, and evidence presentation. Protect the children from exposure to conflict. During my simulated business trip, she finally revealed her full self, bringing the man home, discussing future plans, laughing freely. When she mentioned the children's future lightly, she said, "He'll take care of them, don't worry about it." The children peeked through the door, careful like birds watching predators. I remained calm, resolute, their safety was paramount, and her arrogance would become the edge of retribution. Soon, I handed all evidence to the lawyer, a stack of disks, hard drives, timelines, and notes from the children, a detailed manual documenting every step. The lawyer prepared a plan, first, administrative and civil procedures, applying for temporary custody, protective orders, and delivering divorce and custody petitions at the right time. Every step was legally framed and required precision. The delivery day was a typical weekday morning. The children went to school, leaving the house with only her and the man. The lawyer advised professional service delivery to ensure legality and documentation. I sat in a nearby cafe, watching the city fog through the rearview mirror, my mind calm. That calm was not numbness, it was the stability forged from years of endurance. I suppressed my emotions, letting the law and facts speak for themselves. The doorbell rang. She opened it, saw the envelope, first surprised, then furious. She slammed it on the counter. "How dare you? Are you trying to kick me out?" Her voice wavered between defiance and panic. She called relatives frantically, attempted to sway social opinion, posting selective fragments online. But all her actions were already documented, every move captured on video, more convincing than words. 2 days later, she made her irreversible move. Following my lawyer's instructions, she spoke on camera at home, saying, "Don't worry, he doesn't know. We'll arrange everything, the baby will be said to belong to someone else." Her words, calm and deliberate, pierced the hearts of anyone who saw the footage. Police intervened promptly with the evidence. She tried claiming I was controlling, that I abused her, but the footage dismantled her defenses, teaching the children to keep secrets, intimacy with the man, discussing hiding the pregnancy. She was taken to the station. The children watched through the window, a mixture of fear and relief in their eyes. That night, I did not bring the children home. I placed them temporarily with their aunt until court orders were clear. They thought it was just an overnight stay. My son held his stuffed animal tightly, my daughter clutched my coat, unaware of the full gravity of the situation. The court arranged a temporary hearing quickly. Reviewing the evidence, the judge issued a temporary protection order. She was prohibited from close contact with the children, certain accounts were frozen, and she was required to undergo psychological evaluation. In court, I saw her tremble silently, mouth moving without sound. Her lawyer tried to challenge the legality of my evidence. But we had prepared everything, surveillance within private property, no intrusion into her personal devices, and key communications showing her instructions to the children and deliberate schemes. Court sessions lasted several days. I brought the children's records and video frames each time. Key footage showed her telling the children to shut up, intimate moments with the man on the sofa, discussing hospital visits and coordinating with him. Teachers testified about the children's fear expressed in drawings, neighbors recounted her nighttime yelling. The judge's brow furrowed. The children were in the courtroom's dedicated children's area, observed by professionals. For the first time, I saw my son suppress his smile, quietly drawing the living room lamp. My daughter held my finger, whispering, "Daddy, will they take Mom away?" I reassured her gently, "They just want Mom to get help first. We'll take it slowly." This was not deception but protection. As the trial progressed, her strategy became desperate. She requested supervised visits, even agreeing to conditions, but hesitated when a social worker proposed court-appointed monitors with cameras. Her true fear emerged, not losing the children, but losing control over them without supervision. Her collapse in court was not theatrical shouting, it was utter exhaustion. From initial attacks and counterclaims, to mid-stage pressure attempts, to final silence, she was being worn down by facts. At one afternoon session, she sat in the defendant's seat, tears appearing for the first time, hands trembling like leaves. Her lawyer whispered advice, she nodded, powerless to raise her hand. Watching her, I felt no triumph, only a hollow sense, someone who once breathed in our home, now torn apart by reality. Ultimately, the court ruled, I was granted primary custody of the children, the home and living arrangement remained. She received limited financial support but was barred from contact with the children until completing psychological evaluation and rehabilitation programs. She was also required to attend parenting courses and regular counseling before review, and forbidden to enter our home. After the verdict, she slumped briefly at the table, then looked at me with a last plea, "Please, don't take the children, give me a chance." Her voice almost swallowed by the room's atmosphere, like a soft breeze. Then she trembled, I'll change, I'll seek treatment, her lips were pale, like leaves dried by wind. I met the children outside. They threw themselves into my arms. My son choked up, "Thank you, Dad." My daughter buried her face in my shirt. At that moment, all legal documents and evidence became tangible warmth. Their hair smelled faintly of afternoon sunlight, a simple, real proof of home. On the way home, we spoke little. The children were quiet, exchanging glances but no longer fearful. I opened the door, sunlight spilling into the living room, dust floating in the beam. We re-established routines, fixed breakfasts, nightly reading, daily mood notes on the fridge, small gestures that gradually stitched life back together. Her departure did not instantly heal everything. Some people murmured in stores, some friends sided with her, social media comments occasionally stung. I learned to treat these as noise. The core was the children's stable daily life. I focused on practical matters, notifying the school, arranging therapy, coordinating with neighbors to create a safe, supportive network. On a quiet weekend afternoon, I took the children to the lake. The wind was strong, waves small. My son fell twice while skateboarding but got up and finally balanced, waving a smile at me. My daughter picked 2 wildflowers, carefully wrapped the stems in paper, and handed them to me, "Dad, for you, don't be angry." I smiled, feeling a release, not of hatred, but of energy devoted to rebuilding. Their laughter, like glue, slowly mended the cracks. Once, I met her father by chance. His eyes reflected complex emotions. He said softly, "We never imagined she'd go this far, she regrets it. We want to see the children, to repair things." I looked him in the eye, repair is not a word, it requires action. Legal judgment isn't about punishment, it's about protection. If she truly wanted to repair, she must complete the court-mandated steps. I said, if she sincerely wants to repair, accept help, complete the courses, show verifiable change. The children's safety comes first. He nodded, tears in his eyes. Months later, the children, like transplanted seedlings, slowly resumed growth. My son made new friends, joined soccer, my daughter loved painting, drawing their home with open windows. At night, reading stories to them, I watched them fall asleep peacefully. This tranquility moved me more than any victory. As for her, after the ruling she moved to a small apartment. Her social circle was cut off. Some said she was seeking therapy, others that she avoided reality. I did not inquire further. Our boundaries were set by law and facts. My responsibility was clear: be a father, provide a stable, safe environment for the children.